one is Coach Your Thoughts and Emotions. It has been there for the last 6 years. I have clients and coaches getting trained on that methodology for personal leadership. And the second one is New Charismatic Leadership, which points to a special kind of leadership built on altruism and giving for the greater good, collaborative methodology, which is ethical leadership, a new way of looking at charisma, which is my PhD research as well. And I strive to leave my fingerprints on 1 million leaders before I die. So I hope I can do that through my books and through these kind of webinars. My last book is New Charismatic Team Coaching, which is, you're welcome to purchase this book from the link on my website. So the first thing I would like to do to introduce this idea of disagreement at work and what do we do with it is to ask you to look at this picture really well and ask yourself, what does this tell you at first thought about groups or teams and what it doesn't tell you? So please share with me on the chat, or if you like to take the mic and explain in 30 seconds. Everyone who shares, please mind the time so other people can also participate. So it gives you the ideal picture. And maybe this is a good time to explain that this is programming. And this is normal, right? I mean, it's normal that people are not fully synchronized like this. This takes a lot of training to synchronize people. But what it doesn't tell you, that when we display these kind of pictures on the walls of our meeting rooms, we are telling everyone you cannot disagree. You have to learn how to work together. And please, we don't want conflict. We don't want disagreement. And then the question becomes, is that a healthy attitude? Does it tell you the reality of life? What does it do to people when they read this message or when they internalize the idea, you know what? This organization wants to be a happy, motivated organization. Everybody is like, yes, thank you, and pleased with everything. But you know what? When you start going against the flow or challenging the status quo, no, you know what? We are not going to accept that. We want you all to be the same. So this is the negative programming. On the other hand, the positive programming, let's strive to work together to achieve that goal. But I don't want you to disagree with what I am going to say. So it can be misread, and most likely it is misread. Misread to tell that we're not welcoming disagreements. So the first thing you should do as a practitioner is change this and take it out of the wall and put real life picture. What is reality in organizations? Reality in organizations tell a different story. So what are the true causes of disagreements? This is my second question to you, and I would like you here to contribute by writing one sentence on the chat with 3 to 5 words only. Only 3 to 5 words. And just write one cause. If you have another cause, write another sentence, but don't go over 2 causes because we are a lot of people here. We want to be able to see everyone's contribution. And then if you have finished contributing your sentence to the causes of disagreement, I would like you to start rating other people. Ego, differences of perspective, but where this is coming from. Usually, this starts from the interpersonal dynamics. The interpersonal dynamics is something we discuss with teams and with groups, and we talk about different levels. And we talk about how people communicate their ideas together, how they approach each other for work purposes, how they define the goal together, how do they align themselves with each other, how they manage the energy in the group. And all of these are important for alignment and for overcoming all the problems, the root causes that you've mentioned. So let's look at this element in detail because it addresses the root of the root causes. So when I am talking to someone one-on-one, okay? Usually I am leading that person and they are leading me. But when I come with my thoughts, with my emotions, with my lives, with my priorities. And when they come with their thoughts, with their emotions, with their life, and their priorities. So I have to be really careful how I make sure that I am addressing these things with them. So the first thing I need to do is set my intention to collaborate with them. That's the first one. The second one is listen. Listen, all type of listening. I'm not excluding any, okay? But the highest is the active empathetic listening, whereby I can recognize the significance in what they are saying, the value they are adding. And then the last one is reaching an agreement, even if we agree not to agree. But at least we have concluded a conversation that we are going to look into the options, or, you know what, I'll just respect you for your opinion. It's okay that you have a different opinion. We might meet one day, but if we don't, we still can work together. So that's how you lead the other. But think about if you are leading a group and each group has a group. So you're leading a team of teams or leading leaders who have their own leaders. So this is like the organization at all of it. And think about the relationships that goes into one group between a set of people, like 7 or 8 people. And think about if you're leading the whole organization, think about the relationships that goes into this, how complicated it is. So the interpersonal group dynamic is really complicated. It's not easy to figure out. And what we are trying to do is to find out, are we in the intrapersonal level or the interpersonal level or the subgroup level or the group dynamic level? In the intrapersonal level, you are submerged in your own thoughts and emotions and priorities and life values, that you are listening but reflecting on yourself. So right now, most of you are in the intrapersonal dynamic. It's not a choice you've made, it's your default. Okay? And then once you intentionally listen, intention and listening, you move into the interpersonal dynamic, where you become interested in their world, their thoughts, their perception, and when you want to get out of this conversation with them. And when you move to the subgroup dynamic, you actually have a little problem here, because people tend to have different groups in the main group. So right now, you are a group of learners or participants, and there is a group of consultants, there is a group of coaches, there is Arabs, there is US residents, there is maybe people from Europe, maybe people from Asia. So that we have subgroups. And alhamdulillah, I don't have to deal with this right now because we're only here for 90 minutes. But if I'm leading all of you in an organization, I have to really be careful and watch out for the subgroup dynamics while I'm having this conversation. And I'm trying my best right now. Right now, I am in the group dynamics. I didn't put this right, but this is the bigger group dynamics. Right now, I am trying to address all of you, making sure that all of you receive a language that you understand, an indication that I get you and get your cultural background and who you are, and make sure that I address all your questions. So I am now not in my intra at all, or inter. I'm noticing the subgroups and I'm noticing all of you, but I'm not coaching yet. I'm just delivering a webinar. So this is all interrelated. And when we do the team coaching training, we really zoom on these levels of awareness and develop them while we develop your coaching skill as a coach or as a leader equally. Because as a leader or a consultant, you also need to notice yourself in the conversation. To what extent I am using my own perceptions and beliefs while I am consulting in this context with this organization? To what extent it's my view of the world that is dominating this conversation? And then when you're in your coaching, group coaching, although each learner have their own goal from being in the group coaching, you're also being aware of these dynamics. And when you're team coaching, it becomes integral for you to move out of everything else that belongs to you into the group dynamic and the subgroup dynamics to notice and call it in. So these things we train you in the courses, the team coaching, to understand and learn really well. And the second reason, some of you have mentioned culture, is that we have cultural differences and backgrounds. Like, I'm a Muslim, but I live in the US. So I have this different cultural perspective than people coming from Kuwait who live locally in Kuwait. They're coming from a different culture, or maybe they have the ability to move between cultures, or maybe someone from the US, but they have traveled around the world and they have a different flexible ability to be aware of these cultures. What we invite people to do is that to understand that the whole world is not the same. We're not here equal because we're humans. We're different categories, we're different backgrounds, we're different personalities, we're different experiences and skills. So that all contributes to the ability to understand the message. Which means if I'm speaking to you right now, each and every one of you will draw a different picture or will paint a different picture of the things I'm saying. So to understand these different cultures, I need also to learn what are these different geographical cultures. And then when there is a person who is intercultural, coming from 3 or 4 cultures because their parents are like this, because they lived abroad, because they have, different way of practicing their religion, then I need to be able to speak their language and understand where they're coming from. And that helps me as well coach the team or coach the group towards the common goal or the common purpose. Which means I will have to also help the group see that person for who they are and not try to judge them or to assume things about them. Because once we do that, once we judge and assume, we divide people. And when we divide people, we invite disagreements. So this is one thing that we will learn today. And 9 years ago, I developed this model, which is called the framework of interculturality coaching. The framework of interculturality, I'm tripping. The framework of interculturality work coaching, whatever. Anyway, so I developed this model, and it's 3 wheels, which as a coach, you want to make sure that you spin different elements at one point so that you change the way you ask questions or the way you perceive things. So for instance, when you're coaching or leading, and I'm talking leading because I know leaders coach as well, in a specific organizational culture, let's say with a specific geographical location, you use a specific language, which is the client, but then the client identity interferes with the language as well. If that client, your other person or the group, they mix between languages because they've lived abroad, so they know a little bit of Arabic, a little bit of English, a little bit of Urdu, a little bit of whatever, then you need to make sure that you speak the common language so that they can understand you. And then also your identity interferes as well. Who you are, how much training you got, what your thoughts and emotions are telling you at the moment, yourself, and we say yourself as an instrument, the complexity, intelligence. How complex is this? your understanding of your own self comes in, and these three things, the geographical location, the language, and yourself, infuse together to bring in that question or that kind of conversation. And then you spin the wheel again. Do you have that global perspective? Do you have that self-awareness? Do you have the cultural sensory perception? All these come in. And then also you can spin again and see the power, religion, gender, social groups and affiliations, physical appearance, yeah, values and beliefs. And then with the organizations, you see the industry itself. Okay, government organizations are different from private. So every time you spin the wheel, you think about something different in the system. And we talk about the system and the systemic team coaching, and we talk about, we use this metaphor. People have seen it before, but this is the system, and you're constantly looking at different parts, joints, and relationships. So that is very important in understanding cultures and perspectives. And now what I would like to do is put this interview, before I go there, let's stop here and ask questions, okay? And I'm happy to answer them. Let's ask questions. I want to hear from you. So far, you've heard the interpersonal or intrapersonal or the levels of group dynamics, and you've heard about the cultural aspect. What do you like to ask here? Please put it in the chat or open your mic. Please go ahead, Tanwir, Mr. Tanwir.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that if a coach has to consider all these perspectives, would it make his question like, will he be very spontaneous in asking the questions? Because if the coach is himself thinking about multiple aspects, it might impact the flow of coaching.
Okay. So what happens if it impacts the flow of coaching? Tell
Like
me,
for
Mr.
example,
Tanwir.
yeah, for example, if I'm thinking about, if I talk about these three wheels, if I'm thinking about my own identity, the client identity, and the culture and the dynamics and like all those things. So I mean, I'm just thinking that by thinking about different aspects, by spinning different wheels, it might put the coach into a thought where he is trying to come up with the question which covers these three wheels, which
Okay.
can probably impact the flow, the smooth flow of coaching.
Okay, so what's the impact? I'm going to ask you another question. What's the impact of the flow of coaching when this happens? What happens to the flow?
It will get slow.
Right. And what's wrong with slow? Is there anything wrong with slow? Or what's right about slow? Please feel free to engage.
Yes. I think if it is, there's no harm in having a slow question. I mean, I think it would be more thoughtful, more deep, and covering more aspects. So yes, it's making sense. Yeah.
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 And we speak about silence and giving time for people to think. Because when I slow down, so now if I didn't stop right now and slow my conversation, you wouldn't have asked this beautiful question.
Got it. Yeah. Yes. So the impact is positive. Yeah. Now I realized. Yeah.
It makes your coaching better.
True. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So come on, everybody. I'm sure you have thoughts. It's time to bring them out. You can either write them or open the mic and say them.
Doctor, thank you. They are very an excellent framework, the process that you draw it. As a coach, sitting in front of the whole team is also very, very key and could be tense. What is the starting thing from those areas that you mentioned for the coach to look? What are the starting things that he has to, or the key ones to start looking at? the organization, in the organization setup?
We usually like to start with the perspective of the client, because that perspective will tell us so much about who they are and about the organization they're working at. And it will give us the key ideas that we can work with. And we should get very curious about that perspective, because it's not enough for them to say, oh, I'm facing this challenge today and I really don't know what to do and I want you to help me figure it out. That's not enough information to work with. That's like really just naming the challenge. So if someone says that, what would be the next question? And I'm opening the floor again. Or addressing you, Saleh, about
Yes. Okay.
what would be your next question?
Yeah, okay. Normally some of the organizations, you come to them, you go through what their vision, their mission, their culture, but sometimes they tell you, we don't know exactly what we want. And then your challenge starts with that.
Yeah. You want to know more.
Yeah.
So what do you do as a consultant before you go into the coaching?
I would normally go and look at exactly their system, how it works, their process, their vision, mission, and also the culture, the teamwork, how they work together, and those policies which take care of the people and how safe environment people work in it.
So you really try to figure out the organizational culture. You run your diagnostics, assess what's happening. Yes. And then you get that client again, you come back to them and ask them questions in relation to the system, so that you understand how they see the system and how they see themselves in the system. And then you try also to understand the influence of different factors on them, like their gender is influencing them, is the religion influencing them, is the power hierarchy in the culture influencing them, what is making this challenge? And if it's a group of people or a team, you ask all these questions again. You make sure that you get as much information as you can, because you cannot prescribe without diagnostic. You cannot, well, you're not supposed to prescribe, definitely, but you cannot ask the right questions as a coach or as a team coach or as a group coach if you don't understand where these people are coming from. Thank you very much for this contribution, Mr. Saleh. Really appreciate it. By the way, Saleh is one of our graduates as well. And he's not only my graduate, but he's also from Peter Hawkins graduates. GT, what's it called, your organization you graduated from, Mr. Saleh?
The international team coaching organization from Henley.
Yes. Thank you very much for the contribution.
Can I participate شوية?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. So, Anna, for me, what I will do sometimes, if I feel that any question that I will ask, it's might not, as a team coach, I might not take a correct answer or a clear answer from the team. I will ask the team leader to do a survey. Maybe me and the team leader will sit together and do these surveys or a questionnaire, and it's anonymous, so they will feel free to answer whatever they want to according to the questions. وبعدين even they might sometimes describe some feelings and emotions in this survey or questionnaire, but then the team leader will have, and the coach as well, will have a clear picture of what's happening now.
Great. So you are going also to use a diagnostic tool to help, or assessment tool to help the team sees itself. It's like you're holding a mirror to the team or the group whatever it is, or the organization. Here's what I found from collecting real data from your context by asking specific questions. And I don't know how much this data is true. I would like to hear more from you. So this is, again, another way we use it in team coaching. But let's talk about, thank you, Lina. Lina also is one of our graduates. Thank you very much for your contribution. Let's talk about disagreements. How does this help disagreement? Can anyone tell me?
I think disagreement is healthy at the same time because it's gathering information about the culture, about the capabilities, about the thinking, about the perspective of each person, or if each of each team individually. So this will give you just a comprehensive picture, or it will give from all corners that maybe you can grip it, and it will lead you to the to come to the one point or one pavement that we can start with together. This is my thinking. Also because I, as I told you before, that I work with GSK, and I'm an ex GSK man, and I work with many cultures, with many nationalities, with many religions, and met many people from Europe, from US, from Saudi Arabia, from Egypt, from. So sometimes, and it's not sometimes, really, I deeply concerned about the culture, because culture sometimes maybe it will give you really a good point. Just you can beef all the problems out to know the understanding. So, for example, sometimes if you can just say, maybe if you say a joke, maybe we'll take it badly in some culture. Maybe it's a common in our culture. So this is again because I stress, I emphasize about culture to understand the others well. And for the point, my colleague here, Dina, said that she need to sit with each team leader, for example. From experience also, Dina, and all our respected audience here, maybe again you need to go to the job floor. Sometimes listening to the one coach and not listening to understand that each individual in that group, maybe it will mislead. Maybe that coach is biasing.
Yeah.
He is not giving the true information. Is not fully transparent about what he is hearing about his people.
Yeah.
So that always the chip floor is very important just to listen for them. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you for adding this observation, being in the environment where people are really working and walking the corridors and meeting different people that this team or this group works with helps a lot. You gain a different perspective. So it's time probably for the second part of our password to be announced before we go into the interview that I have prepared for you. So Lina, maybe can you announce the second part of the password so people can write it down?
I disagree.
Disagree. Okay. The first part we announced in the beginning. La,
Aye.
okay, I disagree. Okay, let's keep it that way. You disagree now
Disagree.
to announce? Okay. No problem. Okay, let's now I'll share screen with you and let's walk into the interview because it will teach us a lot. And pay attention because after that I'm gonna break you into rooms for discussion, and then you are going to assign a spokesperson for each room and contribute from that room to the main discussion. So let's hear this 10 minutes interview. So tell me a little bit about the context of your work.
My job is a project manager for construction projects. My job is basically to carry the project from beginning to end, handling the scope of the project, meaning the scope of the work that's being done, keeping it within budget. There's a budget always established for a project, and also keeping it on time. Schedule is always started off in the beginning of the project, and my job is to carry it, make sure it lasts during that duration of the schedule. So the scope, the budget, and the schedule is my role in carrying a project from beginning to end.
That's great. So in your line of work, you must be dealing with a lot of people. different stakeholders and partners and employees and contractors. Tell me a little bit about how do you see that relationships developing?
Yeah, that's another part of the role is the relationship between all the stakeholders. And as various stakeholders, not just the client, but also governing authorities, the end user of the product, the contractor, the design, architectural engineering. So there's the bigger the project, the more stakeholders are involved, and and there's always going to be discussions between and differences and confrontation between the different stakeholders, and because everyone has their own needs.
Yeah.
And my job is to keep everyone in place and make sure that we all are on the same track, and making sure that we reach that end goal that we're looking to achieve.
And that must be stressful sometimes when there are delays or out of budget or demands from some of the parties. So I would like to know more about the causes of these disagreements.
Yeah, disagreements could range between, like I said, the client changing their mind. Usually they wind up with the project saying, oh, you know what, I want something else, or can we add this to the project? And always my role, at least with the client side, is to let them know exactly what are the consequences of these changes. So I would take it in and give them an assessment saying, okay, yes, you want to add this to the project. This is how much it's going to cost, and now our time is going to be expended further on than what is on the schedule. So laying out the land, laying out the law as far as what are the consequences of it, and that helps in the discussion, because they might say, oh, it's my project, I can do what I want. I'm paying the money, so I can do whatever I want. But there's always consequences to that. So trying to play the little bit of a diplomat role, either not so much not just with the client, but also with the other stakeholders. Say, for example, the contractor.
Oh, sorry about that.
Wants to say the specification. So each project there's specifications in the project. Which product, for example, which products go into the project during the construction. Say, for example, fan coil units. The contractor will have a list of the preferred vendors and products in their list, and sometimes they would say or equivalent. So it'd be a list of 1, 2, 3 products, and say or equivalent. The contractor obviously is going to look for the equivalent because it's trying to find a cheaper one. And they might, for example, say, okay, yes, I found this product, and then the architectural engineering, basically it's the engineers that have to approve it, and saying that, okay, yes, it's an acceptable product. I remember one time the contractor did suggest a fan coil unit that meted all the specifications except for sound. It was louder than it was the decibel level louder than what was in the specifications. But the contractor said, no, this is a product we've used before in a similar product. But the engineer is saying, no, it does not meet the specifications. So I'm the one who's trying to play the in-between person for compromise. So a lot of it results, a lot of these conflicts winding up trying to compromise, try to find a way that keeps both parties happy. So in this case, I suggested, why not have additional sound insulation underneath the
creative solution.
Solution. And the contractor says, okay, yeah, we can do that, but you would have to handle the cost because you want to keep this fan coil unit, but this additional insulation is outside of the budget. You would have to pay for it. Contractor says, okay, I get to keep my fan coil unit for whatever reasons why he insists on having that one. And the engineer says, okay, yeah, I can prove it. Maybe we do a mock-up and see what kind of decibels come from this fan coil unit with the insulation. And in that case, both parties are
Yeah.
happy. So it's a win-win situation. And this is the approach that I have is playing the diplomat, saying, okay, yes, I see your point, I see your point, and then trying to find a compromise, trying to find the common ground.
Yeah. And that's actually is my second question is how do you do that? You just said that you listen, you say yes to the demands. So it sounds like you're empathizing
Yes.
with
Yeah.
both parties simultaneously
Mhm.
until and so what else goes into these detailed conversations other than listening and empathy?
Yes, to me, okay, I might have a point of view, but that's not my role. My role is not to have an opinion. It is the one to try to find a resolution. My job is just, like I said, to keep the project on schedule, within the budget and within the scope. And in my opinion, say maybe I don't like this or I don't like that. That doesn't matter. So I know that my role is
Yeah.
not an opinion. I can't pick sides.
Yes. So you set yourself aside from the whole equation. You don't interfere. You don't consult. You don't play a consultant role
No.
unless you're asked.
Unless I'm asked, but most of the times I'm not, because there are so many stakeholders involved. There's so many opinions that's not my role. So I play the diplomat.
And what helps? What helps in siding yourself away from? Because this is a very critical area. A lot of people find themselves involved emotionally or invested into the argument or the disagreement that they feel that they want to have a solution. What helps you side yourself away from it?
That took a while. Me as an architect, I always architects have opinions, and then one person told me the first I guess it was the first or second job I had as a project manager is saying, are you an architect? I'm like, yes, I'm an architect. Forget about it. You're not going to be an architect if you're going to be a project manager. You can't be an architect. You have to. And he kind of explained it, but I kind of figured it out on my own. Figured, okay, yes, my role is not to provide solutions as far as an opinion, but actually to find a solution as far as the goals of the project. Keep making sure
the goals of the project. That's probably is the secret sauce, is to focus on the goals and the purpose of the project or the purpose of your role.
Yeah, and not so much trying to resolve or trying to pick a side as far as opinions go. But yeah, that has been my approach as a project manager. Empathize on the two parties who are disagreeing and trying to find a compromise.
Yeah. So finally, before I wrap this up, I'd like to ask you if there is disagreements that you are sensing in a meeting that's escalating. What do you do to infuse that disagreement?
Now, as soon as I start seeing two individuals, usually it's just in meetings. Sometimes it's just two individuals who have a history. A lot of times have a history of clashing. Always having one trying to prove a point, and the other person trying to prove the other person wrong. And again, it's a similar kind of approach, trying to compromise, empathize, take both sides, and then try to find that common ground. Because obviously, there's going to be some common ground. There's going to be a clash, but there's going to be something that they both can agree on, and just trying to find what, and then work from there.
That's beautiful. So you focus on finding that common ground to dissolve disagreement before it becomes a conflict.
Yes.
That's the danger when it becomes a conflict, right?
Yeah. Then it gets out of control. Then it's hard to diffuse.
Well, anything else you would add to our discussion here before we wrap up?
No, I think it pretty much sums up my approach as far as a project manager, how to resolve disputes, and like I said, the focus is on the goal of the project.
Well, thank you very much for. Okay, everyone, that was an extensive interview with the project manager. So I will send you now into breakout rooms to discuss what you have learned.
Strategies for solving the conflicts, but what personally I can share is like the project manager was non-biased, and he used to empathize and try to understand each one's point of view and get everybody on the same level so that the issue is resolved. And the third thing which he used to do was oriented towards the goal, so
Okay,
that we are moving towards the goal. So these are some of the things which are coming to me.
great. So I will ask group number 2 now, but try to avoid what he has shared, like add something different. So who's the spokesperson for group number 2? Avoiding these 4: non-bias, empathize, get everybody on the same page or level, and move the group towards the purpose. Anyone in group 2? Who's the spokesperson? Share something new.
Mr. Saleh, you are on mute.
Yeah, Mr. Saleh. Okay.
Okay. Well, the first thing I felt very sorry for this project manager. He has the responsibility but no authority.
Uh-huh.
He is only doing the cooperation between the different parties. Although he said his scope to manage the budget, to manage the schedule, everything, but then
Yeah.
he has no authority to do that.
عبد الله تفضل.
عبد الإله. Mr.
طيب.
عبد الإله, are you there? Or
اخوي هشام انت اكبر مني علما وقدرا ما يحتاج.
لا إله
in
إلا
English, huh?
الله. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, what I as يعني some points we can add here, and sometimes we are sharing our teams in group number 1 and number 2. Actually, I felt the situation, but
One thing which our group added was to appreciate the diversity and inclusion. And one thing which he did is that he kept himself aside, his opinion. And by the way, just to let you know that like I am project manager for last 18 years or more. And what I have learned from this is that if a project manager can set aside his opinion, it is going to help, because this is one of the challenges I face, because there are two different opinions, and if I put my opinion as well, now I am the third party. So there is no one who is the mediator. So if I keep my opinion aside and if I help to come up with a common ground, that is something which is going to take it towards the resolution. So this is an insight I'm just sharing, my own opinion.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
This is interesting because everybody in every group, depending on who they are and what kind of job they do, they came up with a different answer.
For this project manager, he must be looking for his charter, and he's looking for the RASI matrix. The RASI matrix, it's the stakeholder engagement plan, okay? And he must be put all the insight, all the idea in one presentation, one case, and going to the sponsor for this project to give a decision, because this agreement, it's I think it's money, it's in contracting, and there is some people high level to give the opinion. It's when he's maybe sometimes it's not his call.
I really love every idea that was put forward here, because I want to side myself away from the conversation and be non-biased for different reasons. But I would like you now to think about your role as a coach. If you were a coach for a team or a group, what of these strategies would you adopt, and what of these strategies would you not adopt? And I don't need answers now. I just want you to think. Okay? And what I'm going to do next is make you listen to a team coaching conversation. The conversation happened between four team members and one coach. And I'm just putting the cartoon here. And they had a map in front of them. The coach gave them the map. The map is a fantasy map. It's an island that doesn't exist in the middle of nowhere. And they kind of pinpointed themselves on the map. This is not their first team coaching session. The clip that I'm going to display is a real team working on a real project. One of the teams that we have inside our training programs. and you will listen now to the team coach coaching the team on a very slight disagreement. And mind you, they are all coaches, so it's unlikely that they disagree, right? But hear this, and I want you to take notes of their approach to handling the disagreement.
If you can just like summarize that in a word or two of what's important to you right now. Today, having joined this new team and getting acquainted with this new project, and
for me is to getting more aligned with the team members, to feel more on track with them and to feel more that I am more aligned with them.
so how do you feel right now in terms of alignment with your team?
I feel more aligned. Maybe it was 0 from 10.
Every time I do something
from 10, so now it is like 4 from 10.
It's close again.
Progressing. Because they talked a lot, and I understand what they are thinking about, so I feel more aligned.
So so this is for the leader. She feels that she's 4 out of 10 in terms of alignment with you.
Sorry, Doctora, but it's a sound without video.
Can
without,
I just say something here? When
no video.
You know what I
Okay.
feel like, given the map, you know, I'm not on the hill. I'm climbing the hill, and you know how it feels like you want to reach there to dig the flag in and say I reached the peak. That's the target. Yeah, maybe how I see it is my target now is not the brochure. My target now is the alignment of the team.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So if I reach the top of the hill and I'm able to put the flag out there, maybe all the members will see where I am. And hence we can all be directed from one direction rather than we're all over the place and moving in different directions.
So is it safe to say that what's important to you all as a team right now is the alignment?
Yes, even for me, I think this is what's important for us to feel that we are unified, we are aligned, given that we have a new member also. This is more important than the project right now.
And to me, part of the alignment is having the knowledge, because that's the base which we're building on to reach where we want to reach. And knowledge, not only as an information, knowledge also as in with experience. The more we practice, the more we're putting what we're learning into perspective. That will better align us. And as we're doing this exercise, for example, now, we're seeing I was at 0, now I'm at 4. So the more we're discussing and the more we're practicing, we're getting more and more confident to what we're learning is being applied. As we continue doing these sessions, we'll probably be getting more and more resonance with applying the competencies in real life.
Okay, so I think we could wrap up. And just before we do, listening to all of you, the main goal is to work on the alignment in order to work towards reaching the end goal. Maybe just discuss amongst you how you want to close this. And
sorry, I will interrupt you over here, but I'm just wondering, because I thought that we are always aligned, but what do you need to feel more aligned with the team?
Thank you for bringing this up. I know for a fact we're aligned as friends, as people together.
Yeah.
My point of alignment is our grasping of knowledge in context of the material and the course. The material, getting to know it really well and how to apply it in sessions.
Yeah, but that's not alignment. And we are aligned. We're speaking about the knowledge.
I'm speaking both about knowledge and applying.
Practicing
Practicing what
the
we've just applied.
competencies.
So for
Exactly.
example,
So it's not alignment. It's about practicing the knowledge that we're grasping from
yes,
the.
but again, we are not aligned in the understanding of that knowledge. We were not. So maybe from this session onwards, we will have a better understanding, because if I'm not wrong, and correct me, we are all at different levels in the knowledge that we know about this. Some of us grasped it better, some did not, some are lost, some are deep, and some are not. So we are not aware what is our knowledge, our current knowledge together.
I think we're very clear together. We needed more information. That's
Yes.
why we are aligned with the need.
We're aligned in not knowing.
Exactly. So we are aligned at the end of the day. So I don't think
so
that
I want the alignment
is,
in the knowing.
So it's not the
Yeah,
alignment
it's
that
not.
we're lacking. It's about the knowledge,
If I
the
may,
practical knowledge of using.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
team
If that will make it more clear, that's fine.
And
But
I'm
that's what I
happy with the alignment, and I feel, yeah, this is my feeling right now. I'm not sure if it's correct. My intuition is telling me that also aligned with us. So because we're
yes.
starting fresh,
So in
right
other
now.
words, that's my words were not put correctly. I want to have more better understanding of the knowledge to apply it correctly, and for all of us to be on the same page at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, even for me, it's not about the bonding between us. It's about, rather than being aligned in a lost place, in a dark place, we be together in a place with light. We know where we are going, and we are applying the knowledge, but practicing the competencies.
Okay, so if we're speaking about this, I'm gonna move myself and I'm gonna stick myself here next.
Yeah, that makes
And we'll
sense.
be lost together. I will call my.
Yeah, this is exactly it. So the reason I said aligned is because each of us is lost, but in their own space. So we want to be we're lost together. So let's be unlost
together in the darkness.
Yes. So, and I think we are heading towards getting unlost. So that is what, see, each one of us placed themselves in different places. So we are on this island. We don't even know what that island is, but each one of us is in a different space. So we are aligned in being lost. But we want to be aligned.
Yeah, the word aligned is not the correct word.
This is the thing, because alignment for me, alignment doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, we are aligned in being lost. Now we want to move to being aligned in clarity.
Okay, I love that. Could we then wrap up, please? Because we have the team leader even has another meeting to attend to. You're all happy with where you are on the map, and you are aligned in being lost, and now you want to be aligned in clarity. So we take it from there next time. Is everybody happy with that?
Yep.
And it was good to observe you all smiling towards the end as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
طيب. So this was the last 7 minutes of a 30-minute coaching session. The team is trying to align. There is a new member that came, and as you heard, there is disagreements, healthy disagreements. So I want to know, what did the coach do? What did you observe the coach doing that helped the conversation?
Maybe it's trying to bridge all thoughts in one line, in one page.
Okay.
Coach allowed the flow of ideas or thoughts which they were having. It was not stopped. Like everybody was sharing, and at some point in time, if there is some insight, the coach has highlighted that insight, and the people, they tend to, give their feedback on that and do the retrospective again and align their thoughts.
Great. Thank you very much.
Doctora, I think Iman wrote in chat, gave everyone space to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was plenty of space. The coach was not interrupting. The coach was not hurrying anyone up. Waited. Like, I don't know how many minutes passed until they spoke up. They allowed the team to have the conflict and the conversation that relates to the conflict or the disagreement. I don't want to call it conflict because conflict is like after the disagreement. So we're still in the disagreement space. Great. What else did you notice?
I was trying to understand where is the coach.
Yeah, but you figured it out, right?
From
At the end.
the discussion, and maybe is the coach probably the last one who just made a sum up that he said you are now aligned on being lost, you are aligned being aligned on the clarity.
Yeah, that's correct, spot on. So the coach, because they don't want to dominate, they have to be non-biased, they don't show their opinion, they don't consult, they don't advise, they don't do any of that. They are just there to hold the space for the team or the group to have the conversation they need to have. And they only come in after a while just to reflect and leave. If you see what I mean, how they are. This is part of the competencies that we teach coaches for team coaching, and we teach leaders as well.
Something.
Please.
Yeah, the good thing about coaching is that you mirror what you see in a positive way. So you
Yes.
just build the positivity out of this discussion. Try to see the keywords here and there, collect them, and then put them in a pretty frame, and then you make them see it, those group. And this is exactly what she did. She tried to keep herself aside, actively listen to them, wrapped up, and then with the space that they were talking about, and the keyword was aligned, and then out of darkness to clarity. This is the thing that she came up with at the end, and good for them that they agreed on the wrap up. I like her approach, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. And with the team coaching, you're always confined by the team schedule. You can't really run out of schedule like now. We have 1 minute to go, and I really respect your time for being here with me. The program for our new charismatic team coaching is coming very soon. We have the cohort 5 on the 30th of January in Arabic, and the discount code is ICF Saudi Arabia 2025 for ICF chapter members. For non-members, please get in touch with me so I can give you a different discount code. We also have a cohort in English starting at the end of April, and our next Arabic cohort in September in Arabic. So this is all for 2025. Other than that, we have mentoring, supervision, other things going on like Coach Your Thoughts and Emotions. Please do not hesitate to email me or text me on WhatsApp or text ICF or connect with me on LinkedIn. And thank you very much for being here with me today.